All right. Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Whew, we are flying by. That might, well, you know what? The card that fell out is what we're going to use. And it also hit one of the bowls there. So that was kind of a little extra confirmation, little ding there. Um, but yeah, we are finally out of retrograde, Mercury retrograde, and Gemini season just hit Sunday. So I don't know if y'all have felt like the energetic shift, but it's just like a lot of information coming at me, information I have to put out, a lot of communication things, like all of a sudden communication picked up fast, as well as social events, and like June is going to be coming in hot. So, I'm a little biased. Taurus season is, to be honest, my favorite season. Um, my son, I gave birth in May to a human being, and also a rebirthing of myself, right? Because old Kisha had to die, and the rebirth of a new Kisha as mom was there. So, but I like Taurus season just because it's kind of chill, right? Like Taurus is slow and chill and methodical. It's patient. It's kind of like it likes the opulence and the luxury, but it's like cool about it. And still very creative and endearing and sweet. It's also really great when you have a child. I have a book called uh, it's a book. I think I see it. Linda Goodman's. I think it's her sun signs book, but it goes through every zodiac sign as a parent, as a boss, as a child. And she says in the book that Taurus children typically are, out of the whole zodiac, the best. I was blessed to have one because they're naturally like slow moving, and like they like structure, so they do well with going to bed on time, waking up at a certain time. Like they like their structure, they like to know what's going on, and when they do, they're just pretty chill because they're also very patient. Um, and so they're kind of like the little gentle giants of the zodiac, except when they're trying to be that stubborn bull, I guess. But yeah, so we're now in Gemini season. A lot of information. It's almost kind of like coming up for a breath of fresh air, but it might be kind of heady. You might feel a little lofty with ideas, and your creative inspirations, might be coming to the forefront. You might find yourself a little bit more of a chatty Cathy, or wanting to socialize more and get out there, especially with now the weather is even warmer than it was. So it's a fun time to be very social, very interactive. It's also a great time to learn, and not just learning, but to process that and see how that process can affect your relationships. So it kind of makes sense that this kicking off Gemini season with tonight's message of boldness. Miss Freya here says to be bold and to unleash your adventurous side, take risks and be daring. That is actually very Gemini-like, because they can be like, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like to switch it up. But also Gemini, the sister sign is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is also about risk taking, and adventure seeking, can be a little reckless sometimes. So that's the part we got to kind of reel in, right? The recklessness. We can take bold action, but with some consciousness, with the ability to actually maybe be a little more clear headed and clear minded in what it is that we are pursuing. So a little bit about Miss Freya. Oh, this is fun. Okay. Freya, she's a Nordic earth goddess, right? So we're still coming off that earthly energy of Taurus. But she's the goddess of fertility and celebration and passion. To me, that's kind of a culmination of like the previous seasons, Aries and Taurus, with the passion and the fertility of earth energy. But she rides in a chariot pulled by mighty cats across the rainbow bridge, which connects heaven and earth. Unafraid of her sexual power, Freya teaches us to appreciate our attractiveness and to enjoy ourselves. What better way than spring fever, right? Get out there. Everybody's outside. And so because of that, it's no wonder then that the day of the week, Friday, was actually named in her honor, since this day is associated with end of the work week, a time of celebration, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, even though it's a Tuesday. And so with that being said, just take a moment and take a few deep breaths, allowing yourself to just really allow that message of boldness, of adventure, of risk taking to kind of land where it may, right? Within your psyche, within your body. Notice how your breathing responds to that. Notice how your body is responding to that. Notice your emotional state when you think of boldness and taking action and risk taking. Think about how you feel also mentally, what things come to mind. Do you have more energies associated with that of maybe fear or uncertainty? Or do you feel excited? Either way, it's all good. Your feelings are simply providing you feedback so that you can know and clearly maneuver how you want to move forward with that energy. You find yourself in a space of maybe fear, anxiety when you think of being bold and unleashing your adventurous side, taking those risks and being daring. How would you, aside from what others may expect or what you may feel or think that means, how can you take action steps aligned with your goals, aligned with your visions that might feel a little out of your comfort zone? It might feel bold for you. It might feel like you're taking a risk, but you are the one in control of how much effort you put in, how far you are willing to go from where you are in this moment. And as you connect to the breath, allowing the ebb and flow of the breath move through you, noticing the rise and fall of the chest. Just become the observer of your thoughts when it comes to being bold, adventurous, fertile, feminine, creative, daring, unapologetic. Notice your feelings and what may come up for you. Allow yourself to go where those thoughts and emotions may take you, but only to the edge of your threshold, comfortability. There's no need to push yourself or force yourself. Allow what comes to come and what goes to go. Just go with the flow. What ways are you playing it safe right now? Take a moment to just contemplate. Are you playing it safe in your interpersonal relationships, in the areas of romance and intimacy, in your career or business, your presence online and in the world? Where are you playing small or playing it safe? And with this observation, it prompts the question, why are you playing small? Take a moment to just meditate. Noticing where you may be playing small, playing it safe, and asking yourself, why? this come from? Is this something I still want to own? How can I transmute this into something else, something better? How can I take intuitively guided steps between ease and effort so that I can unleash the side of me that is ready to come out, so that I can take the necessary steps in order to be seen and heard, acknowledged. What would it feel like to just be a little bolder, a little more sassy, a little more fiery, more passionate, more clear and direct, more authentic? And just because this evening's message is prompting you to be bold and unleashing that adventurous side, to step into the unknown, you still, the gift of free will, can choose how you would like to move forward in that direction. Maybe instead of being fearful, you choose to be faithful. You allow it to move from fear to fun, playfulness. You see this next phase, this next chapter of this adventure as a game. How can you elevate your perspective so that it feels good, so that it draws you closer to it, because you've set the tone for how you will get there. You've put in the destination, and now it's up to you if you want to take the easy route, the long route, the scenic route. You have options. It's time to take bold action in the direction of your dreams and your desires. See, your success comes not from playing small and being timid, but by fully committing yourself to realizing your dreams, bringing it into fruition. Let's take a moment and just hold the intention, vision of success, and it shall come about. Hold a clear intention for yourself, maybe energetically, maybe in your mind's eye, of success. Hitting your mark, accomplishing your goals. What does that look like? What does that version of you look like? How can you embrace her in this moment? see the opportunity to take a risk as game that you are playing with the universe? What would it feel like if success was inevitable? How would you move? How would you be? How would you feel? How would you show up? And how can you begin to show up as this higher version of yourself, this evolved version of yourself, the successful, undeniably successful version of yourself? Can you see yourself being celebrated for accomplishing that goal? What would it feel like for you to receive the accolades, the acknowledgement? You've been feeling subtle or loud urge to make necessary life changes. Honor it. Follow it. Listen to the meanderings and the desires of your heart. Your soul's calling. What is calling you? What is trying to elevate you, to expand, and to grow through you and out into the world? What is in its way? What is stopping this process? It's fears or doubt, worries. That's okay. Ask yourself, why? Why am I holding myself back? Sometimes asking ourselves questions like that is all we need to set wheels in motion. For the awareness creates an opportunity to shift, change, to make a decision on if you would like to change. But know that making no decision is the same as choosing and deciding for everything to remain the same. The only way to create change is to simply change, to be the change you wish to see. What does that look like? What does she look like? Notice all the details. Awaken your senses. What does that version of you not only look like, what does she smell like? Maybe she wears certain perfumes that are expensive. Maybe she sounds a certain way because she speaks with authority and clarity, certainty, conviction in who she is. What are the tastes on her tongue? Maybe she's able to nourish herself with a particular diet. Maybe you taste the bubbliness of champagne and celebration. Coming this far, celebrating herself, being celebrated. What do clothes on her skin feel like? Future version of you. What does she wear? What would it feel like to be in her skin? How can you bring more of her essence into your everyday life? That bold, adventurous, celebratory, fertile version of you. That divine aspect of you that's willing to unleash her adventurous side, take risks, and to be daring. What would it feel like to be her? Just allow your imagination to wander. Give yourself a moment to just relax and daydream. Pretend. Like when we were little kids, some of us just played dress up and pretend. Some of us didn't. And if not, that's okay. You have the opportunity to do that now. So if you could dress up as this new, bold, vivacious, unapologetic, successful, wildly successful version of yourself. She exists somewhere, even in a parallel universe. She exists. And you can call in her essence. Maybe you see her riding to you in that chariot, the rainbow bridge that connects heaven and earth. How can you put on this energy, adorn yourself in this essence? How can you embrace your attractiveness? How can you enjoy yourself and the pleasures of this earthly realm? Just a little more. If taking risks and being bold and daring is a bit too much, you can dial it down just a little bit. Maybe you treat yourself to something small. It doesn't have to be extravagant or lavish, but something small as a way to celebrate yourself, as a way to also practice gratitude. But when you continuously have a celebratory ritual or practice, what you begin to do is tune your body as well as your mind that it feels good to succeed. It feels good to achieve things. And guess what? It becomes more natural for you. You begin to override years of doubt, slowly chipping away at low self-esteem or low self-worth, anxiety and fears. You begin to chip away all that society and culture has about you and you begin to see yourself. And maybe, just maybe, that is the boldness. That is the adventure. That is the risk. Letting go of all that you've been told about who you are, why you are, where you are, and all of those judgments, all of that stuff. And maybe you choose to just see yourself as the most beautiful, authentic, successful version possible. What little risk can you take in the direction of your true heart's desire? Are you being guided to make a bold and necessary life change? Can you identify what that is? How can you honor that? What baby steps can you take to make that happen? And sometimes in a space where we are being guided to make necessary changes, we may self-sabotage out of fear that we are inadequate, we are incapable. Is that true, or is that something you believe based on past experiences, based on what other people have sold and told you? Is it from examples of others and you decided that, yep, that must be me too? I am that. Because in this moment, you can take that risk and choose to see yourself differently. Many times, what keeps us where we are is our fear of the unknown, fear of change. What is the foundation from which your fears of change have been built upon? Take a moment, breathe, and just contemplate. Allow the mind to wander. No pressure, no judgment. This is a safe and sacred space for you to truly explore, go on an adventure, discovering who you are and what you truly are capable of. Letting go of what everyone else said, everyone else may think. Just set those aside just for this moment. Where did this foundation of fear, I'm not good enough, I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough, or I'm too much of this, too much of that, where has that come from? Just notice. It doesn't mean it's true or factual. You're simply gathering feedback. And once gathered, you can decide if you want to take that home with you and take it to heart, or if you want to toss it, find something new, something better, something more true. you have a fear of success? If the answer is yes, that's okay. Question is, why? What are the fears that you have that surround the idea of success? Where did they come from? When was that foundation built? What reinforced it? Why and how did you continue to build upon that? And is this something you want to continue to build upon? A lot of times our fears of success and our fears of failure are two sides of the same coin, and therefore we end up stuck. We do just enough not to fail, but not enough to succeed. Where does this come from? Whose stories did you buy? Whose truths, opinions, judgments did you take on as your own? When we are born into this world, we are seen as a blessing. We are seen as pure, as beautiful, gift, something that is maybe coveted or desired. Then, somewhere along the way, we forget. We forget that that is our truest, most purest form in essence. It didn't matter how big we were, how little we were. We were just loved. Simply being here, we were just loved. When did that story begin to change? Allow yourself to only go as far as comfortable. There's no need to push yourself. There's no need to open doors you may not be ready for. It's okay. Just begin to discover where some of those opinions, beliefs, and so forth have caused you to play small, to be scared, fearful, to worry about what others may think, to believe what others may think. Just because you see it so often doesn't mean it's true. It just means maybe it's become normalized. Doesn't mean it's a good thing. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Here you have an opportunity to recreate yourself, to say, no, that is no longer my truth. I am bold and adventurous. I am intuitive. I celebrate myself for, and just name 3 things that you are choosing to celebrate about yourself this evening on the recording. What are 3 things you can celebrate about yourself right now? Allow yourself to be draped into the embodiment of success, of fertility, creativity, intuition, beauty, flow, inspiration, undeniable success. living your best, most authentic life. Allow the essence of your highest self just drip down into the crown, into space between the brows, into your heart, the belly, into the womb, down into the pelvic floor, allowing it to just continue to drip down and flow through the rest of your body and extremities, your arms, and your legs, filling you all the way up like liquid gold. Your essence dripping liquid gold. It's as if you have the Midas touch. Everything you touch turns to gold. With that being said, placing one hand on the heart, one hand on the low belly or your womb space. Everything you touch turns to gold. You are golden. You are brave. You are most perfect expression of the divine feminine, just as you are. No longer do you have to be in fear of success. Success is inevitable. Failure is not even an option. Own this as your truth. So it is. When you're ready, you can take a nice deep breath and slowly, gently come out of meditation when you're ready. So, I would like for us to play a little game. Okay? Be a little vulnerable. Let me think how I want to do this stuff. You know what? Since this is a collective, I would like, I'll still keep the recording going, and I won't say, I don't think it really matters as far as saying names. But what I would like for you to do is in the chats, go ahead and tell me one thing that you are afraid of right now. Okay? I'll go first. I'm afraid of texting this boy. So that was simple, you know. But guess what? Me texting a guy first, my fears of rejection come up real fast. Fears of rejection and fears of abandonment. It also does not help that I know that they're going to be moving anyways. So for me, the last like 4 or 5 guys that I've met, throughout the years. It's like, what is this? I meet a guy and, oh yeah, by the way, I like you. You're great, but I'm moving. Okay. So for me to be bold, and take this action step of like, hey, how's your day going? That is scary for me. All right. So how will I overcome that? Maybe I'll go ahead and just send that text and just be like, hey, how you doing? And you know what? If they respond, they respond. If they don't, well, guess what? It allows me an opportunity to practice some healing. And so let's see, Gemini, Sun, Sag, Moon here. Oh, that's cool. So Renita, you were actually born on a full moon, actually. Because when one's sun and one's moon are sister signs, it means you were born on the full moon. If you have both a same sun and same moon sign, and that means you are born on the new moon. So just to keep that in mind. And let's see here. Okay. Not finding a new romantic love. All right. Thank you, Maya. Yep, that's with you. I'm with you in that same boat. Thank you for sharing that and for being vulnerable. I know a lot of us are probably kind of in that space. And it doesn't really help when you are hearing, like, the dating pool in Atlanta is filled with piss, it's a pissy pool. So what we can do here is we can all hold space, right? Okay, repeating a cycle. All right, this is good stuff. Yeah, repeating a cycle, afraid of being seen. Okay, yeah. And sometimes that cycle is, it's one of those things where let's see, repeating a cycle, afraid of being seen. Yeah, and it's interesting how, in a way, they all kind of get a little nuanced, right? I'm talking about relationships. Yeah, Maya's talking about relationship. Yami's talking about repeating a cycle. Anita says, I'm afraid of being seen. And once again, the question is, why are you afraid of being seen? Why are you afraid of repeating a cycle? Why are, see, it's all Gemini season. We all looking at relationships right now. Afraid of being seen also is one of those things. In order for us to cultivate a new relationship, we got to be seen by our potential partner, right? And also, being minded about relationships and repeating a cycle. So, with that being said, okay, we've identified what our fears are. Okay. And now that we've identified what our fears are, we're just going to take those and we're going to wrap it up. And we're going to put it in a little box on the side. It says fears. Okay. And now we have a new little box over here. We can always revisit that box over there if we want to. Okay. Which would be repeating a cycle if we keep going back to that box and picking something out. Right. So we're just going to take all those fears right now. We're going to celebrate the fact that we share those not only with ourselves, but with others here. We put them out there. These are what our fears are, okay? And then we're just going to take those and we're going to put them all in a little box. So just imagine, right, all of us here on this call or on the replay, all of us here just putting all our little fears in this box that says fears. And the interesting thing is it shows that, guess what? We all have fears. We collectively and individually have fears, right? Now, as a collective, we're going to put that box over to the side. And in a new box over here, right, we're going to put the things that we are going to celebrate about ourselves, okay? We're going to decide also what needs to change. So let me back up before we go into the celebratory part. In this box here, we're going to type in, and you can just add this into the chat. How would you like that to look? Okay. What kind of shift would you like to happen there? Okay. So, for instance, when it comes down to when it comes down to not finding a new romantic love, how can you be supported in that space? Right? And maybe it's being more compassionate with yourself. Maybe it is actually seeing yourself and practicing self love, and meaning like affirming that you are lovable, affirming that you are ready and open to receive a new romantic love that is aligned with you, that one that is filled with passion, one that is purposeful, one that helps you both to prosper, and one that is long lasting. So a lot of times I know that for me specifically, when I'm manifesting a new partner or lover, the thing that I forget to add in is long lasting. That's probably why they fly by night, you know? So like fine tuning that, right? So the opposite of that would be, not, instead of not finding a new romantic love, I am open to a new romantic love, long term, long lasting partnership or relationship. All right. Repeating a cycle, that would be like, how can we move through that? It's like, you know what? I'm going to practice awareness when I see myself going down, because now I know. And the reason why I bring this up for the collective is because once you recognize something, it's one thing to just say it, but once you actually see it, once you get it out of your head, once you say it and put it out there, now you can kind of step back and sort of disengage from it a little bit emotionally, or it may also bring up some emotions as well, and that's okay if that happens. It means it's ready to come up for clearing, because as it comes up for clearing, it's like you're pulling those roots out and you're now creating more space, right, for those seeds to be planted. And so when it comes down to all of these, basically what I've learned in just my personal life and working with clients is, once I become aware of this, I am scared of, I'm not going to find someone. I notice that I keep repeating patterns and cycles and habits. I'm scared of being seen. I'm terrified of being seen. And so once we actually acknowledge that, now the next step, right, is to really consciously embrace that. Because what happens is, as we become more aware, it's just like, if you know better, you do better kind of thing. So every time that little inkling comes up of, I'm not going to find someone, well, then guess what? Now you can start to override that a little bit at a time. And it becomes easier. It becomes this practice. That's why meditation, self awareness, mindfulness is all a practice. It's not a perfection. Um, but when you do that now, like Yami, if you feel like you're repeating a cycle, when you notice you're about to respond a certain way, when you notice you're about to handle something a certain way, because we put this out here together, this is also a little accountability, right? So it's kind of like a group coaching thing, but a little accountability here. So now that we put that out there, guess what? Sometimes when we put something out there for others to see, we sometimes use that as a way of accountability. So it kind of makes us like at the back of our mind, like, oh, I did say that last time, in the group. So let me actually do a little better. So it's a little safe accountability here. Um, but when it comes into repeating a cycle, it's like, okay, well, I know that this is something that I normally do when this happens. When I'm upset, when I'm sad, this is how I react, this is how I respond. These are the habits, coping mechanisms that I have. Okay, well, next time something like that happens, where you feel less than, where you feel down, maybe you feel depressed, or, feeling kind of like, oh, woe is me. Maybe you're in the self loathing and self sabotaging. The question is, how can you come up with something right here, right now, consciously, to be an alternative, right? So maybe, say, Maya, when you find that fear creeps up of not finding a new romantic love, maybe as it comes up, instead of sitting in it, right? Maybe you decide, oh, there's that thought again, there's that feeling, and you place your hands on your body just so your body knows, oh, yes, I'm willing, I am open and worthy of being loved and touched and embraced, making it a somatic thing. So it's not just mental, it now comes into your body. And so you begin to fine tune your body as an instrument of divination, right? An instrument of divination is tapped into that above and below. So you're embodying that cosmic energy, you're embodying that higher self and letting your body know, oh, okay. What happens is, when you do that and you begin to fine tune yourself as a divine instrument, then what happens is your electromagnetic frequency, your chakras, all that stuff starts to harmonize and balance too. And it starts to align and attune with that. Okay, so it becomes a practice. So like for instance, the new romantic love, if fears come up like, oh, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I don't know if it's going to happen in this amount of time, you're like, you know what, the right partner, long lasting, purposeful, passionate love is coming to me right now. And you might find that as you let that sit for a moment, you take some deep breaths, something might say, you know what, I feel like going to get a taco. Why not? And you might go and you might go get a taco, and you might end up randomly or coincidentally, right, sitting next to somebody or someone that invites you somewhere, tells you about a party or tells you about a something, an event, and you're like, oh, and then you go to that. And the next thing you know, you're socializing, you're meeting people. Never know. It happens. I know I speak this from personal experience because there are plenty of times where I'm just like, I really want to meet someone that's like this, that, and the other. And I put that out there. Next thing you know, I'll go here. I'm like, I don't know why I feel like going to get this today, or why do I really feel like I just have to go to Target, and then I'll go to Target and it's like, voila, someone's kind of like, oh yeah, whatever. And so it's those little breadcrumbs, right? But it's the opportunity to shift your focus, not get caught up in what the fear is here, but to now create a new pattern, a new circuitry of energy, okay, to get you from here to here. So when it comes down to repeating a cycle, that's what happens. We see something come up and we're just like, we cave into it, right? And so what happens is, Yami, if you're afraid of repeating a cycle, then it's an opportunity to be like, nah, not today, Satan. Not today. I know this is a cycle. And guess what? I am a cycle breaker. I choose in this moment to break this cycle. And this is how I'm going to do it. Direct the energy somewhere else. Okay. This is how I choose to break this cycle. I'm not going to engage, or I'm going to walk away, or I'm going to actually assert my boundary, and say, this is my truth. And you don't have to accept it if you want to, but it is mine. You can respect it though, Let's see, when it comes down to Renita saying, I'm afraid of being seen. So in those moments, guess what? Yeah, long lasting. I realize that's my key in the relationship manifesting things. Not only do I want I'll say, so personally, what I do is when it comes to manifesting, I always ask one for better. And each time the quality of the man gets better to some degree. I got to work on the long lasting part too. So we're going to do that together, okay? We all going to work on this together. But yes, this is one of those things, like really think about what it is that you want. What kind of relationship? You want something that's long lasting, something that's passionate, someone, a relationship that is complementary to your life. You know what I'm saying? Not something that's going to be a distraction, something that's going to complement your life and help you and this person up level. Kind of like maybe you set an intention to receive a relationship that is just so mind-blowingly awesome, you didn't even know that something like this existed. It is so great. Okay, so it's shifting that energy. And what you're doing is you're mind hacking. You're reprogramming your mind, actually, because your mind only knows what it knows. And so unless you actually shift it and say, oh, this is what I would like instead, and try to start, programming it, changing it, then the mind is just going to go in default mode. And then here we are repeating cycles. Okay. So yes, you feel like you're repeating cycles? Hey, you know what? I am a cycle breaker. I choose to break this cycle in ways of maybe loving kindness to myself, of compassion to myself, in ways that are still harmonious to everyone involved and serves the highest good of all that are involved. Like redirect the energy, okay? And when it comes down to being seen or fear of being seen, Renita, this could be an opportunity for you to notice, like, ugh. You can place your hands on your body if you like to, giving yourself some comfort, letting yourself know, I'm here, I'm seen, I'm present, I'm in this moment. And that's an opportunity also for you to see yourself. Okay. When you are like, oh, I'm afraid of being seen, and you're going somewhere, but give yourself a little, have to make it so obvious, like I'm calling myself and holding my breath. Maybe you just place a little hand on your face, like a little caress. You kind of love yourself a little bit. Maybe you do kind of fold your arms, but it's in a way that's kind of like you're actually like giving yourself some solace, letting yourself know, I see you. I see you. The part of you that's in doubt or in fear, I see you. And once that part starts to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm seen, it kind of keeps it in house as well. But when it's like, oh, I'm seen, then you can say, all right, well, maybe my way of being seen today is just putting on these little, like glam earrings instead of some studs or something. Maybe your way of being seen is like, adding a little extra something here and there. It can be small. It doesn't have to be, I'm afraid of being seen and you have to step on stage, at a conference type stuff. But if it is, do something that makes you feel comfortable, right? It's kind of like how kids have a security blanket or something like that. It could be a crystal, it could be a stone, it could be some sort of amulet, it could be maybe you have like the necklaces, that has you could put like essential oil on it or something, so you can just kind of smell it real quick. Something that can calm your nerves, calm your senses, and let yourself know it is okay for me to be here. I can be seen. This is how I want to be seen. And then when you start redirecting that, guess what? Eventually, you start to control how you show up, how you want to be seen. And then people start to see you as that instead of you being kind of in this space where you don't know how others are going to see you. Because that can be intimidating, right? Especially when you think you're this way and other people, you don't know if they see you this way. But when you decide, I want to be seen this way, this is how I'm going to show up, you'll be surprised how that resonance is received. Okay, so we're kind of fine tuning stuff, and a lot of this goes back to, I don't know if any of y'all read it or listened to it, but the Body Keeps Score, which I think was like maybe March book or something. I think if you haven't read it or haven't listened to it on Audible, it's really great for it's deep work. It can be kind of triggering, but in reprogramming how we see ourselves and allowing ourselves to be seen, to be loved, and to be free, to be bold, all right, and to unleash our adventurous side. And just showing up, being here, doing the work, being vulnerable, sharing your fears, that is you being adventurous right there. So you can do it. Okay. And I celebrate you all for being here and sharing this. And then we will go into now our readings. So, let's put here. Stop.